GPS, that little box of tricks or that app on your phone. It's supposed to be your guide, leading you to salvation. Or at least to the nearest decent taco stand. Most of the time it does its job. With a smug, robotic voice, it tells you to turn left, you turn left, it tells you you've arrived. Sometimes you even have. But then there are the other times, the interesting times, when the GPS just sort of shrugs, digitally of course. It's in these moments of technological betrayal that true adventure often begins. Or perhaps utter confusion. The screen freezes, the little arrow spins in circles, like it's as lost as you are. Suddenly that planned route to a quaint seaside village, it evaporates, vanishes into the ether. You're left staring at a blank map, or worse, a map showing you in the middle of an ocean. When you're quite sure you were just on a highway, that's the magic of GPS failure. It's a special kind of magic, mostly frustrating. But sometimes, just sometimes, this failure is a gift. A beautifully wrapped package of pure, unadulterated chaos. The ocean is big, really big. You don't quite get it until you're out there, with no land in sight, for days. It's a humbling experience, makes you feel small, insignificant, like a forgotten crouton in a giant bowl of soup, a very salty, very deep bowl of soup. Our GPS still mocking us showed nothing, just endless blue. The captain, a man whose face looked like a well-worn map itself, just grunted. He'd seen it all, or so he thought. We were officially off script. Then the fog rolled in. Not just any fog, this was a thick, soupy fog. The kind that swallows ships whole, and spits out ghost stories. Visibility dropped to near zero. The world became a gray, damp blanket. Our state-of-the-art vessel, reduced to a blind man's guess. We were sailing on pure faith, and a dwindling supply of instant noodles. The mood on board was contemplative. That's a nice word for quietly terrified. Everyone was thinking the same thing. Are we there yet? And where exactly is there? It was on the third day of this foggy limbo that something changed. A subtle shift in the air. A different smell. Approaching this phantom island was weird. Like walking into a dream you know is a dream. But you can't quite wake up. The place pulsed with a strange energy. It didn't look like your typical tropical paradise. No welcoming sandy beaches lined with perfectly spaced palm trees. No signs advertising happy hour 2-for-1 specials. This place looked wild, untamed, like it had actively resisted being put on a map, and was slightly annoyed we'd found it anyway. It had an attitude. I respected that. The closer we got, the stranger it became. The coastline was jagged. Sharp rocks jutted out like broken teeth, daring us to come closer. The colors were intense, greens so deep they were almost black, splashes of flowers in hues I'd never seen before, hues that probably didn't have names yet, maybe screaming fuchsia or suspiciously glowing orange. The air itself felt different, thicker, heavy with the scent of unknown blossoms, and something else, something vaguely metallic and a little bit like old socks. We decided to call it WTF Island, unofficially of course for our internal records. It seemed fitting because every few steps someone would mutter, "What the?" The place was a masterpiece of biological confusion. It was as if Mother Nature had a few too many cocktails, and then decided to get creative, really creative. With the spare parts bin, the trees didn't grow straight up, they corkscrewed, they looped, they sprawled, as if gravity was merely a suggestion here, a polite request they'd mostly ignored. The plant life was a riot of bad decisions, or genius innovations, depending on your perspective. Leaves bigger than umbrellas, flowers that looked like alien faces. Some of them seemed to watch you as you passed, with a sort of botanical disapproval. There were vines that glowed faintly in the shade, and fungi that pulsed with a soft rhythmic light, like tiny earthy heartbeats. It was beautiful, in a deeply unsettling, I should probably not touch anything kind of way. Every plant looked like it could either cure all known diseases, or kill you. Horribly. And the sounds. Oh, the sounds. It wasn't the gentle chirping of happy little birds. No. Section 5, Flora that fights back, and Fauna that judges. Let's talk about the flora in more detail, because it deserves its own special mention. Some plants had thorns, not just regular thorns. These were more like tiny organic daggers, strategically placed to snag your clothes, your skin, your dignity. Other plants had leaves so sharp they could probably give you a paper cut, a very deep, very infected paper cut. We learned quickly, keep your hands to yourself, unless you enjoy bleeding, profusely. from inexplicable wounds. It was nature's way of saying, look, don't touch. Then there were the flowers. Some were stunningly beautiful, intricate patterns, colors that defied description. Others looked like they belonged in a horror movie, with gaping maws and suspicious-looking tendrils. One particular bloom, a vibrant, pulsating red, smelled faintly of cooked bacon, which was just cruel, given our dwindling supplies. We debated trying to eat it for about half a second, then we remembered the thorns, and the general vibe of everything here wants to hurt you. Discretion and an empty stomach won the day. Section 6. The locals. Charmingly odd, oddly charming. Just when we thought the island couldn't get any weirder, we found them. The locals. Or perhaps they found us. We stumbled into a clearing, and there they were. Not what you'd expect. No grass skirts, no spears, no welcoming committee with suspicious fruit punch. These people were different. They were small, wiry, with skin the color of rich earth, and eyes that seemed to hold ancient secrets. Or maybe they were just wondering what we were doing, trampling their weird, glowing fungi. Their clothes were woven from plant fibers we didn't recognize, intricate patterns, in surprisingly muted colors, considering the technicolor explosion of the island's flora. They moved with a quiet grace, almost blending into the forest. They didn't seem surprised to see us, or alarmed, more like mildly inconvenienced, as if we were unexpected dinner guests, who had arrived just as they were sitting down to eat. Awkward, for everyone involved, especially since we didn't bring a bottle of wine, or a glowing fruit. Communication was challenging. Section 7. Legends of the Lost Sneeze and Other Origin Stories. Every place has its stories, its myths, its how we got here tales. WTF Island was no different. The purple paste people, once they decided we weren't going to steal their glowing fungi, started to share, through elaborate gestures, and surprisingly good charcoal drawings on flat rocks. Their origin story was unique. Forget gods carving mountains, or turtles carrying the world on their backs. This was much more biological, and a little bit gross, which frankly fit the island perfectly. According to their rock art, the island wasn't born. It was expelled from a celestial being, a giant space god with a terrible head cold. Apparently this god had been flying through the cosmos, minding his own business, when he felt a tickle in his enormous universe-sized nose. He tried to hold it in, but it was no use. A monumental galaxy-shaking sneeze erupted. And while the island was part of the fallout, charming, right? Explains the weird colors. And the general feeling that things weren't quite right. Another legend, possibly related, involved a very large, very clumsy sky serpent. This serpent was carrying a basket of creation seeds, meant for some other more deserving planet. But it tripped. Section 8. So beautiful it hurts your brain. Beauty. It's a funny thing. We're conditioned to expect certain types. Sunsets over calm seas, majestic mountains, fields of perfectly uniform flowers. This island, it laughed in the face of conventional beauty, it spat on your postcards, and then it showed you something so strange, so alien, so utterly unexpected that your brain had to recalibrate, just to process it. It wasn't pretty, it was astonishing, in a way that made your teeth ache and your eyes water, a little. Think of a painter, a brilliant, slightly unhinged painter, who's been given all the colors in the universe and told to go wild. No rules, no expectations, just pure, chaotic creation. That was this island. Every vista was a shock, a jagged peak piercing a sky of impossible blues and purples, a forest where trees glowed with an internal light, a beach where the sand wasn't sand but tiny iridescent crystals, that crunched like sugar glass underfoot. It was too much, and yet, never enough. The sheer improbability of it all was part of its allure. This place shouldn't exist, according to our maps, according to our understanding of how things are supposed to be. Section 9. The glorious art of getting completely lost. There's a certain freedom in being well and truly lost. Not just missed a turn lost, but no idea what planet this is lost. All the plans, the schedules, the carefully curated itineraries, they all go out the window, or overboard, in our case. You're left with just yourself, and the immediate, often bizarre reality in front of you. It's terrifying, it's exhilarating, it's a reminder that you're not actually in control. Despite what your smartphone tries to tell you, the universe just does its thing. This island, this glorious, map-defying accident, was the ultimate unplanned discovery. We didn't seek it out, we didn't book a tour, we stumbled upon it. thanks to a faulty piece of technology and a healthy dose of bad luck, or good luck, depending on your tolerance for purple paste, and existential crises. It forced us to adapt, to observe, to engage with a world so far removed from our own. It was a crash course in humility, and in the proper appreciation of things that glow in the dark. It's easy to stick to the beaten path. The well-reviewed restaurants, the famous landmarks, the places everyone else goes, there's comfort in that, predictability.